my beer like it was my microphone. I was talking into my beer.
We are now live-ish.
What do you mean ish? Well, we're live, just no one's
live.
watching.
Wow.
So should
this is just too loud in my earphones.
Oh, it's not in mine. I don't care about what's in the
I don't know.
Okay. Primal Roots is here.
That is
Okay.
So this is the part where we drink and talk about shit.
Yes, we drink and talk about shit.
You like that? It's on the microphone.
That was a great.
So
that was a great pop. I hope it wasn't terrible in anyone's ears.
Yeah, you can see the spike on the
audio.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any sponsors this week?
No sponsors. I just am glad to be inspired by all the because we do a lot of going through the tags and looking at snake pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just both so inspired by the girls who put snakes in between their boobs and take pictures of them.
But the best is the girls who put snakes in between their boobs and make it seem like it was like a coin. Like it was just like, oh.
All men are the same. Like, no, twat. You put a fucking...
Don't use that word.
Twat. You put a snake in between your tits and took a picture of it. Everything seems very intentional.
Yes, they are very intentional. I would almost rather girls who do that to just own it and be like, hey, I'm putting this snake between my boobs so I can get more likes and followers.
Yeah, can you guys give me some attention because my father wasn't there that
Babe,
much.
Stop. No, that's too far. No. They just want followers, and they know the fastest way to get followers is through boobs, which happens, that's obviously not just in the snake world, that's anywhere.
Absolutely, which is why
the snake world is not. Oh, there's an Amber Alert.
There's an Amber Alert, which is
in Texas, in Galena Park, Texas, and it's messing up.
There's a 91 Honda Civic.
Sorry, Instagram. There's an Amber Alert on my phone.
Fucking.
But I mean, I don't fault them for doing it because it is the fastest way. I fault them for not owning up to it.
Yeah, just be like, here's my tits with a ball python on it.
Right. It's tits then ball python
tits.
rather than ball python then tits.
Ball python. Ball python tits of Instagram. Hashtag.
Should that be a new hashtag?
Hashtag. Ball pythons.
Do you think people should be faulted for doing that? Or
hashtag
should be criticized?
Will send nudes for snakes.
Oh my God, stop. Do you think people should be criticized for using their parts or their God-given parts to gain more followers?
I don't think it is fair because guys don't have an equal
opportunity. They have abs.
There's not an equal opportunity.
They have abs.
Yeah, but then you're put into a category and cast off by everyone.
So are girls not automatic?
No, well, because every guy is like, that's cool.
That's so loud.
Because once you do the ab stuff, the guys are kind of out of it.
Okay,
but then you have a very small sector of females.
So girls can still,
and girls don't even really give a shit about guys.
So girls can put their tits out and put a snake on their tits and still be respected in the reptile community. You think?
No, people act like they're respected because they want the girls.
Okay.
So they'll follow them and look at them, but
they're not really respecting them.
I don't know. Who do I know who's
a big girl in a
there's not many. There's a lot
community.
Of what would you call those? Couples.
Okay. you couldn't think of that word, couples.
No, it's a little while. But there are a bunch of couples who are pretty big, but otherwise there's not many just girls.
Why do you think girls haven't made it to the level that guys have?
No, I mean there definitely are some, but most of them have spouses that are also into it.
But you can't even think of a girl who's just on her own big.
Not really. Not off the top of my head. I'm sure there are.
Well, then she can't be that big.
If I was in the ball python game, some that are decently big, but maybe not full-time breeders. So that's where I would make the cutoff. Be full-time breeder is where.
Okay. Wes said, I respect Tay Baby Dean. I have no
idea who that is. Is it an Instagram tit snake girl?
Probably.
Tay Baby Dean.
I saw one today that was kind of the craziest. It was a girl with jeans on, and she had the button still buttoned, but she had the zipper unopened or open on her jeans, and there was a snake coming from the zipper part of her jeans, like the where you're
like, look at my dick.
No, it was a girl.
Yeah,
but I don't remember what the caption was. But yeah, it was just like outrageous.
Yeah, it is outrageous.
Someone said I would love to model naked with snakes. So to me, that's different. In my head, that's different. I don't know why, but it's different.
I mean, that's a thing, right?
Right, that's a thing. Model. Like you like photos. You have like legit professional photo shoots for people naked with snakes. Yeah. That's different than just let me pull my shirt down and.
Well, yeah, we're talking like the cell phone selfie in your big fat tits. Like not even like good looking girl. Like if you're naked, oh my God, you're probably stop. A better looking. These are like trailer park.
Stop! You're getting mean. You're
but
getting
it's so
mean.
Fucking true. They're not like good-looking girls either. They're like snake girls with like some like
whatever.
She has like a Yoshi tattoo that is all faded out and fucking.
You're terrible.
Her name.
Okay, but Wes says Taylor Nicole Dean. Have you heard of that person?
I want to say that's the girl who's in Texas who like she makes videos of like her blue tongue skink like in her backyard or whatever. You know that girl who had the sand boa?
Okay.
It's more of coming from the angle like this is a cute snake. This is really cute. I think that's the girl. Not like
really cute.
Not like actually talking about reptiles, but more like snakes are so cute. And then like that's the depth of the video. But she has like 1 million fucking YouTube subscribers. Yeah.
Because there's people who only think of snakes to that level. You know, that's there's a market for those people who are like, snakes are so cute. Oh my God, the colors.
Snoop on your boot or whatever the fuck they say. Right?
Snoop, Snoop boots. I've seen that.
Snack. My little noodle.
Noodle on me. Oh, yeah.
Hashtag
okay.
Noodle.
Let's get to what we're actually talking about today. That was not planned. Fun. That was just what is annoying us this week, basically.
That's
there's something else.
Also, the fucking dragon wings on your bearded dragon.
I've seen that it's like a leash. It's a leash with wings attached to it. Like,
I don't know, man.
Because they really want it to be a real dragon? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's like cute because it's called a bearded dragon, and I can make it into a real dragon if I put paper mache fucking wings on it, or whatever the fuck. Because
the bearded dragon really, really likes
its wings are made out of pipe cleaner. Isn't he so cute?
You're terrible. It's for pictures and for everything.
Instagram, man.
Instagram, it has its pros and has its cons because people use it in a terrible way and people use it in a great way. I think. You know, we use it in a great way.
I don't know. I just do pictures of the snakes just because my abs would be really distracting.
Oh, yes, because your abs are so amazing. You can't show your abs. It would just break the internet.
Well, we would run out of olive oil in the house. Like, you know, it'd be a whole situation. Olive oil is expensive, so.
Stop. But the girls who do it don't even like try that. They don't usually do any like primping.
No,
it's just like very, very quick.
And they're always really pale.
Yeah.
Really fucking pale.
Lilypad said they've seen people put mustaches in top hats. Yep.
I've seen that.
I've
seen that.
And top hats of all varying materials. Like I've seen so many ridiculous things. Like I don't even know. I don't even know how people get the picture for it. Like we can barely get a picture of the snake by itself still. How do you get it
these people obviously have a much larger amount of time on their hands than we have. First of all, they're making mini fucking hats
for their snakes
and mini mustaches. So they have the 5 hours to apply that with, I don't know if it's fucking one side stick fucking mini mustaches for snakes or a top hat that you super glue on top of it and then next shed it will come off.
I hope they are not super gluing. I'm thinking it's the little band, like the party hats you got when you're kids. Yeah. It has a little band.
But on such a micro scale.
Some people are skilled. It's a skill I do not have.
All I'm saying is, you know, find a better way. Take up your
there's
time.
A better way to get followers on Instagram than putting top hats.
I don't want to put clothes on my dog either. So let's clarify that. I'm con
animal clothes, period.
Yeah.
But I think dogs and snakes and bearded dragons.
Well, everything's just putting up with it. That's my point.
I would love to hear from someone who puts the top hats and the mustaches, and I want to know what is their reasoning. No, I want to hear someone who does that. Someone who puts the mustaches, someone who puts the top hat. That's your thinking. I want to know what they think. I want to know what they would say.
It looks cute.
So if anyone who's watching, I hope you're not, because we're shitting on it, but if you
they already turned off.
If you put top hats and mustaches and wings on your reptiles, they might have a good reason. I don't know. I can't think of one.
The show.
I can't think of a good reason, or anyone who doesn't, can you think of a good reason why someone would put materials on their animal?
Materials.
I didn't know a word that encompasses it all.
Because it was cold.
Because bearded dragon.
Sweater.
Can you tell when a reptile is cold?
Yes. They shiver.
No, they don't.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah, they slowly die. That's the real answer. Yeah, you can tell they're cold. They stop
because they die. Because that's pretty much the sign that they're cold.
Yes.
I've always wondered that because watching videos on YouTube, I've seen people say that, when I don't know if it's a bearded dragon or I can't remember what it is, a certain animal puffs up, that means they're like really like what you're doing. And it's like, how much do we really know
that's
that?
Usually the opposite.
Like how some people are like, oh wow,
that was real hard.
That was a great
bird already, dude.
You need to slow down.
Riled up.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. People pet their reptiles and it gets puffed up and they're like, oh look, she really likes it. But I'm like, is there any way that we would ever know?
More surface space for my pets. That's why.
Is it possible for humans to ever really know what the reptile likes as far as petting and how we handle
everything just deals with us. Our dogs even, they're just whatever.
But I feel like dogs, you can tell when they like
Dixie, you can tell.
You can make some dogs smile and
they don't know they're fucking smiling. You're saying they're smiling, but smiling may not mean happy to them. That might be them showing their teeth ready to fucking bite your throat. So it's all
it's all what humans.
You're personifying, animals. So you're thinking that you're making them into humans, giving them a human range of emotions, which animals are obviously on a different range, right?
Yeah.
Because they don't have thumbs and drive cars and most of that stuff. They don't do most of that stuff.
Okay. But do you think I don't know, is it wrong for us humans to put those assumptions on reptiles?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Do you think people should not pet their bearded dragons?
I don't know, man. The thing is, you got to have fun with your pet and stuff like that. So it's a thing where I know that it doesn't benefit the animal in any way. Like some people think it does. That petting them benefits them. Affection may benefit a reptile, but it just doesn't. So
but how do you know it doesn't? We don't know either way.
We don't, but no animal in the wild wants to be fucked with. That's why none of them come up to us.
Some are nurturing mother child. They nurture their
mammals, maybe, but nothing.
But no reptiles. There's no sort of nurturing
animals that nurture.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe alligators, but that's not even really. They're just very intelligent for the scope of reptiles. You want to talk while I try to keep?
Your mom on YouTube said dogs do smile. So, Instagram world, do you think dogs? I think dogs really smile. Joe says they
wrong.
don't.
Dogs, they may smile. What you think?
What we say is smiling.
The physicality of the shape of the mouth may be the same, but I don't know if it's the same thing. But on Instagram, someone mentioned Viper Keeper.
Who's that?
He's he keeps venomous reptiles, and then he says silly stuff, and
that was a great description.
I don't know, just whatever you see popular YouTubers do, don't necessarily do that at home. Apparently he said a cobra arched up against his hand. It seemed like the snake didn't like it. He would shrink away if the snake didn't like it. Well, I think he's just using the snake's defense posture to
say it likes it.
To like, yeah, no snake wants to. No,
but I understand that question, and that would make sense in my head too. Like as far as the bearded dragons or whatever, if they don't like what you're doing, if they don't like what you're doing, why wouldn't they go? I think that's animal emotions either. If they don't like it, they run away. So why, the petting the bearded dragons or whatever, if they're not running away, why wouldn't it be safe to assume that they like it?
I think it's safe to assume that they may not feel threatened, but
that doesn't mean they like it.
Yeah, I don't think they like it. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know what the bearded dragons
think. Someone said, I think dogs only look like they're smiling, but I wouldn't like but I would like it if they really did. We all would. We all would like it if our dogs are really smiling.
I think you just automatically get in weird territory when you start putting human emotions on animals.
But I don't know how do you not do that?
Yeah,
I think it's very, no, I think some people go too far with it. They really do think their animal likes every single thing they're doing.
Yeah, that's why they put top hats on them.
But it's impossible to not put some sort of, try to understand them. It's, if we just didn't put any sort of emotion or whatever, we wouldn't fully understand them. And it's natural human emotion to try to understand things and how things work and how to make things happy or feel better. So yeah, I mean, I definitely think some people go too far, but
just in general, I think reptiles leave them alone as much.
That's so hard though. Like, why buy something just to leave it alone?
I mean, it's nice when things allow you to hold them and stuff like that, but you don't know.
But what is allow? Like,
I don't think in order to thrive they need you by any stretch of the imagination.
Oh, okay. But I don't know. It's just very interesting. And that was not our planned topic for today, but
no, not at all. So in the International British Herp Society, obviously not international, but fucking whatever British Herp Society decided that all shows in the UK or in Britain, they can't have any morph jaguar, any spider ball pythons, or any of the enigma leopard geckos, because that genetic trait comes with neurological issues.
Now, I know at least the shows in America, or at least the ones I've been to, they don't have a lot of jungle carpets anyway. Do you think in England they have more and that's why they felt the need to make that law?
Wait, I'm sorry. I was reading while you said that.
Okay. I was saying that in America, there's not a lot of jungle carpets at shows anyway, at least the ones.
Jaguars, not jungles.
Sorry, jaguars.
No, there's plenty of them in the United States.
Okay, at the shows I went to.
But there's 100 million fucking spider ball pythons.
Yes, those were there. Okay, so in England, they made a law against it that you cannot have those specific ones. And what was the gecko one?
Enigma, which is all essentially very similar traits. I mean, it's just a leopard gecko mutation. Leopard geckos,
Okay. And you said because they have neurological
issues. So
what are those?
Like a spider ball python will always do this weird head movement back and forth and kind of not looking like it's timed or anything. You just know that they're off for some reason.
That's something.
Sometimes they'll lay upside down. So it's something with whatever keeps balance and stuff in their body or whatever neurological thing. They'll miss food and stuff like that
because their motor control is off.
Yeah, so whatever allows them to get that lack in melanin, which would be in spider ball pythons or even in jaguars, very similar looking morphs in different species. So whatever allows them to look like that also gives them a neurological issue. And then both of them, when you breed two spiders bred together or two jaguars bred together, creates a dead white snake. So the eggs usually won't develop fully. If they do, they hatch out and die pretty immediately, and they're all white snake. So whatever it's bringing it, the spider or the jaguar is bringing it halfway there, saying you're having this half retarded baby. In the wild, that would die immediately, so it wouldn't be a big deal.
Right. So,
but now they're breeding together, and
if you know, okay, is it 100% chance that when you make a jaguar, it's gonna have that?
I'm sick of people breeding jaguars together, breeding
that's what I'm understanding. That's what I don't understand.
That you can make a super when over and over again. It's like, have you not fucking seen what's been going on?
But before that, I'm asking about the level
years?
Before that. Okay, so a super spider is going to be dead, but just a regular spider by itself is going to have the neurological. But I'm saying, is it 100%? What it makes
100%.
That you're going to get those
100%.
So then why do people even
will
make
say that
them?
It's not. It is 100,000%.
It's going to have that.
It's going to have that issue.
So then why do people even make them? And even more, if you make them, why try to sell them? Like, if I know.
Well, the thing is, it's not going to be something for the most part that the animal, as far as when you're keeping them in captivity, because if you're keeping ball pythons, you're in a fucking sweater box its whole life, and you're feeding it food in front of its head, you know.
So it doesn't.
And when
it's
it
not
misses
an issue.
3 times, it's not a big deal.
But with that neurological issue, it will still live it a full life.
Full healthy life.
It will still eat. It's feeding. You know, it will still eat fine and everything. So it's just that. It makes me kind of want to change my view on it, because it's like a birth defect.
Yeah, but it's like, think about it in other ways. Do you want to breed for birth defects?
I wouldn't do it at a large scale. Probably, you know, I wouldn't produce
only a couple.
I wouldn't produce 1,000, but if there's the other benefits that it looks nice, which you have to. That's a big factor in snake
a level
breeding.
Agreed with it. Yeah,
you know, that's a huge thing. Why do most people breed ball pythons? Because they look nice, you know? So if it looks nice and it's going to live a full life, if it's going to eat normal, that, I don't know. Now it kind of doesn't, it's not a huge deal to me.
Well, we don't know the quality of life ourselves. We know
what it looks like.
You know, a snake can't tell us what they feel and what they're thinking. And spiders, if any ball pythons, probably aren't thinking much, as well as jaguars. But
okay, we're getting behind on Instagram.
Wait. Well,
I didn't read those.
We just need to move the topic. So, I mean.
Okay, so someone said, my spider ball python almost always messes up on the first strike, but he figures it out. He never.
Yeah, I mean, there's levels of. There's no.
They don't all. It doesn't all look the same.
It doesn't go to 0, but they go from like 50 to 100. You know, of where the snake doesn't have much of a wobble to it, but and then you have some that are completely out of it.
Just a stronger.
Right, and that's probably just over time being bred. So
I think it's definitely something that the seller should advertise to the buyer.
And everyone knows who's really into it. But who don't.
That's the thing. People who aren't really into it come to these shows. And so, you know, I think you should.
They're buying a pet and don't know that this comes with it. And then they may think there's something wrong with their snake.
And bring it to the vet and waste money and all that. Yeah. But so I think it's definitely, if you are going to breed it, I think it's a responsibility or to advertise that like, hey, this is what's going on.
But breeder, and you have 2,000 genes to pick from.
Why do you gotta pick that one?
That one? And just there's probably shit that does the same fucking bullshit, and just breed a Woma to a fucking firefly.
Does that look similar?
Fucking whatever.
Don't know.
Cream puff yo-yo.
Someone said breeding a spider ball python is knowingly, purposely breeding something with a neurological deficiency. Not cool. I understand
mutations.
I understand people's stance on that. I totally understand.
You have too much shit to pick from. Just pick something else.
Why pick something that you know is going to have a defect when you have something? Does it really? I don't know what they look like. Is there Are there more that look similar to it? The ones you just
not exactly. And I mean, it is very cool looking, but you're also being very, very selfish when you say this is cool looking, so I'm not going to.
But do you think it's the right of the Herp Society to infringe that law on people when it's not something that's life-threatening to the snake?
I would say, and this is just personal opinion, because I don't have ball pythons, or I mean, I don't have jaguar carpets also, but that's why I haven't gotten them. I like the way that they
what's
look,
the point?
but like, I don't want to perpetuate that. So, I mean,
but what's the reach of the Herp Society? You know what I mean? What is what Herp Societies should go into people's...
Well, there are none here that are that encompassing, like that would be able to do something like that. But I think that was just a ploy from the person whoever puts on the show and the Herp Society, you know, them convincing them to stop doing that.
Stop it.
Just like, I mean, they're much more forward in their laws with shows and stuff like that, where everything's got to be opaque, they can't see each other, all this other stuff.
So they're not saying that you can't breed it. They're just saying you can't bring them to the shows.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, that's not bad, because the shows aren't your only way of selling. You know, there's avenues to sell. So it's not like it doesn't hurt. Okay. If they had said, you know, stop breeding it completely, I think that would have been too far that they would have reached. But if they're just saying don't bring it to the... And
bring it to our show. I mean,
it's just one show,
wherever
right?
else, just don't bring it to our show.
Okay. I don't think...
I mean, they're able to do whatever. Honestly, man, if I put on my own show, I don't know if I would go for the neurological issues. I never really thought of that before, but I would say if you have lizards, they should be able to be the full length of their body. They shouldn't be in a half circle the whole time. Your fucking rhino iguana shouldn't be in a fucking tub to where the animal's not curled up for 8 hours a day.
At the show, I agree.
Right.
Now, again, not life-threatening, but that's just...
rule.
Right.
That's just being a decent human.
But it's just... it's hard because...
And then everyone will bitch because, God forbid, I have to spend more money on these fucking reptiles that shouldn't be worth anything, but they're worth a shit ton of money, and you bitch about fucking getting a little bit bigger display for it. So rude.
You're so rude.
Well,
but I think it's hard for reptile shows to decide how many rules you want to infringe, because then people are going to stop coming then breeders are going to stop coming to your shows, and then you're fucked. You know what I mean?
That's why you got to hold everyone to a higher standard. I mean, but if you have that database, there's so many breeders. So you say, I hold a higher standard, everyone else can fuck off.
But then they're going to say, fuck you, and they're not going to come to your show.
Yeah, but fuck them. If that's why we need to do a cleaning of all the fucking... the people who suck dick.
Oh my God.
And there's plenty of them in the industry.
So terrible. You're so mean.
Stop being a piece of shit and let's make a good fucking...
You can't just say all shows across the board change your rules.
No, but I'm saying if you
I don't think it's going to go that way. I think if you raise your standards, I don't think people are going to... all other shows, you'll be like, okay, like, let's do it too. No, they're gonna... I don't
care. I just wouldn't personally do that. All the other shows can go fuck themselves.
I just don't think you're gonna have a show. I think if you force people to buy all these bigger display things, they're gonna be like, no, there's a million other shows. I'm gonna go to those.
Fuck yourself.
You're not getting what I'm saying. Absolutely. You're not gonna have a show. No one is gonna come.
Yes, I would find the good people because they know that it's a step up, so everyone would be attracted to that, because 5% who are up here couldn't give a shit about the 25% people that are down there. They're going to say, you know what? Like, yeah, we can meet your standard easily because we're not scumbags in the first place. So you have the best breeders, whether or not they're big names or whatever, they're still the best breeders.
But think about the best breeders pretty much only go to Tinley. That is the
yeah, but there's also dog shit breeders there. There's also pieces of fucking
if your show is little Lone Star Reptile Show in Arlington, Texas. Yeah. You cannot raise your standards and expect little breeders there.
I wouldn't be Lone Star, but then again, even then, you put when you sleep at night, where are your morals?
Baby, I can promise you when people sleep at night, they're not thinking, oh, I didn't make those people have bigger display cases. No, that's not what people are thinking.
Yeah, but they're fucking doing is selling short just to make money. So it's
the reptile shows you think are selling short.
I mean, they're just trying to. Don't give.
I think they're trying to appease breeders to get the most breeders into their show,
right?
Which is good for the reptile community. If you only have 4 breeders versus having 40,
well, maybe we need 4 and get the other fucking 36 out of it.
Someone said, but should we have shows if they are full of uncomfortable reptiles? Agreeing with you. Yeah, raising the standards of the show can also raise the standards of the buyers.
Of the hobby and everything. Thank you.
I understand in a utopia, yes, that's how it worked. You raise your standards and then everyone would follow. But
we're not talking about fucking making vivariums for every single one, putting a water bowl in there. We're just talking about being a decent, what I would consider the lowest level of decency, which would be having
appropriate size display cases
for lizards. I mean, snakes are meant to be in a coil, correct?
Yes.
Lizards aren't exactly.
I'm not disagreeing with the fact that that's how it should be. I'm thinking realistically. I just don't think realistically that people. I'm playing the devil's advocate a little bit, and I just don't think. I don't know if just changing your rules is the right way to go about it. I don't know what the right way.
Well, you would obviously have to, along with changing your rules, also do a shit ton of marketing and personal relations and shit like that. It's going to take a lot. People still show up.
Right. It's going to take a lot on the reptile show's effort to reach out to that, the breeders who are willing to do it. It takes a lot more in the reptile shows. I mean,
and the thing is that most of the people in the hobby, 90% of them can pick a few names that are get the fuck out of my show and don't have them anymore.
Wow.
Yes. Wow. So it's like everyone knows who is the fucking pieces of shit.
Are reptile shows? Are they just like come like if you have the money you can come? Kind of anyone can come. There's no sort of they don't I
mean, some back in the day I think used to do all captive born and bred and all this stuff, but I don't think that really happens.
They don't do any what's the word I'm trying research isn't the word.
And I love rare reptiles, so like I wouldn't make an all captive born and bred show, but I know people who import who are dog shit and who aren't, and I want the people who are good doing it and treat their animals and stuff like that.
Wait, why wouldn't you make an all captive born and bred show? Explain that again.
Because I really like rare reptiles, and some of the only species that are present in the hobby.
They wouldn't have bred out the next line. That was captive.
But there may be like one person who's breeding this particular animal in
all the rest were imported.
So if I could say, hey, DM Exotics, you're coming because I know that you're top notch, and I want to throw out a specific name, but you fuck off.
You let me just
you go fuck off. So it's like there's people who do it right, whichever which way, and people who don't. And like on Instagram, like there would be an initial drop off, but I think marketing and getting it out there and showing people why we're doing this and a reason why, you would create a higher standard. Everyone would get behind that because they realize the bigger picture.
So then
you say, I'm not the scumbag, so why do I care?
Another possibility, you create a wider gap between the good shows and the bad shows. You'll end up with your shows that's everyone's good, and then there'll be you know what I mean? There'll be the low ones that can't afford to charge people or to make people change will just be complete dog shit people.
Oh, they already exist. There's complete.
I mean, but do you understand what I mean? I feel like the gap there would be right now. There's some middle that are mixed good people and bad people, and I feel like that. I mean, again, I agree. Over time, I think it would help, but initially, I think you would create a huge gap between these are the good ones, and then these are the who couldn't get into the good one are in that one. And you know what I mean?
Hamburg's always gonna be there. So
what's Hamburg?
Fucking there. If you go to Tinley and then go to fucking Hamburg,
what is Hamburg?
Which is the Pennsylvania one.
Okay.
Like Gaboon Vipers and deli cups, or
But that's weird because I feel like there's a lot of big snake people in Pennsylvania, that are well respected snake people. So it's very interesting that there would be a bad show there.
Yeah.
Snake people who live in Pennsylvania, they don't go to the shows.
No, because they're scared of getting fucking mites and shit. Because it's fucking dog shit. Sorry, Hamburg people, but fuck.
Okay, are we getting lost on Instagram?
Yeah. So
he said if they want to participate, they need to be humane.
I was a little shocked the first time I saw full-size chameleons and deli cups at a show. Yeah,
we saw that.
Yeah, it's like especially chameleons, which are not very like pliable animals.
They can't roll.
They're funky as fuck, and like you need to have that animal in at least like a reptibreeze where it's gonna have some, and you're gonna display it better. People are gonna buy it because it looks good. It doesn't look all fucking crouched.
People are buying it already. I think people are already buying it.
Right, but I mean, you're gonna have a much better chance at an animal that's displayed well than one fucking stuck in a deli cup.
Which is anonymous. She lives. I'm assuming it's a she. Says Witches lives in Dallas. We live in Dallas too, by the way. She said we have the Reptarium.
We have a video on our YouTube channel of us at the Reptarium.
No, a lot of people complain about the sound on that video. Yes, we went to the Reptarium, and they have higher standards for breeders and buyers alike. And I agree with that. But you know what the funny thing is? Someone commented on that video, remember?
Yeah.
And said that and like fiercely criticized the Reptarium.
Yeah, it's the computer. It's the internet. So fucking DFW Reptarium, they're all pretty much naturalistic variums, and they're all pretty much housed singularly to an extent. I mean, obviously there's some that are together, but
those are very small.
You got to know that when someone has a business or that's going to happen. And then also everyone complains about how high their prices are. Their prices are. I do agree. But what they're doing is buying from people like us and trying to make profit on it. What they're not doing is offering people like us half the price, sell it
for double
and make money. What they're doing is being ethical on both ends.
They're paying full price from small breeders,
keeping the animal correctly and doing all that. Hopefully have high margin on the live animals, but also provide good service, and they actually know what they're doing. They have a bunch of people knowledgeable, and I think that's a good example of a place that does it correctly. Right. That everything could take precedence of, or they could be used as an example for a lot of the fucking pet stores.
I think you could fault them. You could fault them for their prices if they were getting them at dirt cheap prices, but they're not.
How much they're
No. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying like those people who criticize the prices of Reptarium
because they're not selling for us. They're selling for the regular consumer who at Petco is paying $500 for a python that fucking hasn't eaten yet ever and has fucking a year and a half of stuck shed on it. So
or they're paying PetSmart, what do they call them? Fancy pythons.
They're buying fancy fucking
that's what PetSmart's little label is, fancy pythons.
Which makes no sense because do a little bit of research, just a little tiny bit of research, and you know that you can get this, know what morph it is for half the price, person who will help you out, rather than I go to PetSmart and I ask for a knoll and then they fucking give me this whole fucking story about keeping reptiles and shit, and like you try to bite your tongue and be like, shut your fucking mouth. But
rude,
very rude. But I mean,
I also don't fault Reptariums for charging higher prices when you know there's other options. You know what I mean?
It's PetSmart, talk to their employees and then talk to the people at DFW Reptarium, or go to PetSmart and see how they keep their animals in comparison to them. So it's like they are charging you much more money,
but
because they're giving you such
and
a
they're
better
knowledgeable
of a service. So.
Right. So you're paying for your service there, and they have such a greater variety of reptiles than PetSmart has. Like
yeah, just everything. But hey, Jack.
Hi, Jack.
Bass Chaser 3.
It's great.
You never know unless it's bass or bass. You know, there's no fine distinction. But if he's chasing it, it's definitely a bass, like a fish.
Yeah.
Bases, they generally stay put for the most part.
That wasn't funny. I think you were trying to make a joke and it wasn't funny.
Not really. I was just making an observation.
Yeah, okay. That one was funny. I don't know. So maybe other people found it funny. But okay, back to the reptile shows. As far as raising the standards, do you think it has to start from the top? Like Tinley in Chicago is widely known, like one of the best.
To have high standards.
No, that's what I'm saying. Do you think it has to start with the big shows like Tinley raising their standards? I can't talk. Tinley raising their standards, and it will trickle down to the. Do you think it has to start at the top?
Doesn't have to. All you gotta do is make yourself be at the top, motherfucker. You
can't just click your heels and be at the top. It doesn't work like that.
My view on all of this is that if I did it, not saying I'm going to, if I did it,
clicked your heels and started the best reptile show. I think that's what you're acting like. You would just start one tomorrow and it'd be the best.
No. But what I'm saying is I'm 25. I'm on the right side of history. Meaning, like, I have time. A, number one requirement,
possibly.
Time. B, I know that this is where the ball's going, not necessarily where the ball is.
Okay.
C, I have, a way to get it out there. I have Instagram. I have podcasts.
To market.
I have all this shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then also I know people in the industry who are not scumbags, because I try to, as much as possible, filter out scumbags as they come, because there are plenty of them.
Mm-hmm.
There are many, many people. But there's also very, very, very good people. So with obviously the best of the best, and then having that personal connection, they're going to come to your show. If you're saying, I can provide, a certain amount of crowd for you, is create, obviously a good market. You want all your vendors to make money.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that someone could do it and start from the bottom, and that's how they would break through. If you're just starting just another reptile show, I think that you're not going to, you're just one in a million. There's so many reptile shows now. I think if you actually did that, cleaner show, higher standard, you would stand out. And people, even though some people who are old, they're going to die. I'm 25. By the time I'm 50, they're all fucking dead or out of the hobby. So you're on the right side of history. Even if you're not good now, you'll be good in 20 years, because everyone believes in humane treatment and keeping of animals at that point, because it's only going one way.
So old people don't care about humanity.
We're not going.
Old people don't care about humanity. Is that what you're saying?
All I'm saying is that a lot of the old school guys do certain things. And what I think is that everyone younger is going in a different direction than what is happening now. So I think that if you did that, it may not 5 years, maybe 10 years, but you'll definitely be, because Tinley wasn't the first big show.
What was the first big show?
The first big show was Orlando/Daytona, which turned into Daytona.
Because Florida has everything.
Because that's where everyone was smuggling reptiles to. But we decided as an industry, and because NERBC slowly built up, that this was a better option than fucking getting green iguanas smuggled in from fucking Daytona and Orlando. Yeah, so it's like, as an industry, whether it was conscious or not, it slowly happened because there were higher standards, and just it was put together better, and it was much more of a conference feel. As far as like the US ARC auction and stuff like that. So I think there's ways to put it, because it was better. It was just better.
do you think? Okay, what category do you put U.S. ARC in? Is it a herp society? Is it?
No, I mean it's just straight up, and the only way for it to be effective is to be straight up like it is. All its sole thing is to keep our rights as keepers of reptiles.
So okay, U.S. ARC, United States. What does it stand for?
United States Association of Reptile Keepers.
United States Association of Reptile Keepers. Right. Okay. Do you think U.S. ARC or some other society could ever do something like the British Herp Society and put
No, because all they're doing is adding rights to reptile keepers. They don't take away. Okay. Which I agree with. I think we have all those rights. People,
but is there? Do you think there's any? So there's no society that today could do what the British Herp Society did. There's no one who is big enough to take away rights from reptile keepers.
US is way too like
I think separated
money forward. It's way too like commercial first. As far as like we're by far the most friendly, not in the world, but like in the developed world, first world, the most friendly business.
Oh, business. Country. I thought you were going to say like friendly in general. I was about to be like, absolutely not. Americans
no, for businesses. Okay. Unless you're like China where they're like, whatever flies. But it's, we have the necessities, but we're not
super strict on.
So like the reptile business in the US is kind of like all businesses in the US, meaning like, we're not the strictest,
but we're not the loosest,
but we're kind somewhere of in the middle to where, it could be better, it could be worse, whatever.
Right. Okay. Couple of things. So
Primal Roots is going to NARBC this year. What should I expect?
Is he going to Tinley?
If you're going to Tinley, it's different than Arlington. I mean, we go to that one as well, but Tinley is seeing everyone that you could ever imagine in the reptile community, like all the big people.
It's the top 75%, and then some shitty people
it's
throughout.
Like the one shitty person. I could point him out if you're there.
Oh, you're talking about one specific person.
He's going to Pomona, which is a cool one in California.
Oh, I didn't know.
But I've never been to the Pomona Super Show, but I've heard that it's really cool. But I mean, that one's obviously going to have all the big people from the West Coast. If you want to go to a place that's going to have everyone from everywhere,
Tinley is the
way to go. But I only know because I've been to Tinley and I've been to Arlington, haven't been to Pomona. But in Tinley, it's like a real life conference, much more professional than everywhere. The other ones. Mm-hmm. And people everywhere that you've heard of or you've seen somewhere, and you're like, holy shit. And it's like you just feel like reptile community, like you're like, this is awesome. Like I feel pretty good about whatever's going on, and then you're really pumped up that it exists.
That you're there and you're part of it. Bass Chaser asked earlier, what do you think is the best
Bass
website for buying pythons is? Would you say
morphmarket.com?
Morph Market. You need to like get some stock in them. I just feel like you are like everyone who asks are like pumping them.
There's other podcasts who are fucking sponsored by them.
Okay.
That are sponsored by them. But
Morph Market does sponsor people?
Right. But I just do that. It's kind of a cop out because I can't go through the good breeders, the bad breeders. If you're looking for a ball python, like people like Garrick DeMeyer are great, and Justin Kabelka, but it can sometimes be higher end stuff. So Morph Market, you can find smaller breeders, going to give you more of a personal feel.
Well, I want them to sponsor us. We have recommended that website to at least 10 people this week. Like we deserve some sponsorship from them.
And Repta hats.
Well, that's not real. So someone brought up that Americans are way more fierce about protecting their rights. I agree with that. Right. We don't want someone to take away.
If anything, we don't want to take away anything. We always want to.
We don't want stuff being taken away.
The world works at this point in the United States is you only get rights taken away at this point. They don't ever go back. So
Well, it depends on what your views are, what your God-given rights are. But they also said you run out of your beers, you don't get another one. Yes, you drank 3. I'm still on my first one. You don't get another one. But they said in England, live feeding is illegal. I did not know that.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Why? For what purpose?
Because people don't have a clue of how nature works.
What is it? They think it's inhumane to live feed?
It's humane.
Just out, like, who gives a shit if you live? You know what I mean? Like, why do they care?
Well, the thing is, it's happening anyway. For anyone who has ball pythons, there's plenty of people in the UK with ball pythons, and they're doing it anyway.
Maybe they don't want people to just like go off the street and pick it, but people aren't doing that. People aren't doing that.
Why but don't want suffering anywhere.
England's that just seems crazy. They're going to the San Diego Super Show, so it's different.
I've heard it's smaller than Pomona, but I heard it's still pretty good.
Okay, and then he asked if you ever come to the Florida Repticons.
No, I've never been to Repticon. One I forget.
We've talked about this, but
I forget. Herps and Repticon. I'm not sure what the good one is, but I think the Repticon is the weird one. I'm not sure.
What do you mean is weird?
Dog shit, and there's one that's not, and I don't remember.
Which one?
Repticon may be the good one, it might be the bad one. I don't know.
And then there's
you'll
one.
See, it's in Florida.
There's one that's just called Hertz.
Sight to be seen. Yeah,
Hertz. I feel like any show in Florida is a sight to be seen because Florida has just so much going on.
Primal Roots asked, when did reptile shows start? I know, like, my dad brought me to the White Plains show, I think, in the 90s. So that one's been still going on, still one of the best shows. I mean, doesn't hold a candle to like the NERBCs of today, but still a decent show.
And you don't know of any before the 90s?
Orlando, I mean,
I'm sure Orlando's
probably been going on since like the late 80s, maybe early 90s. I don't really know. I wasn't alive.
I can only imagine them like bringing their little red heat lamps to the shit, like all that shit that they would post with.
I remember buying a lizard at White Plains and us not knowing what it is, and I don't think the guy who sold it to us knew what it was, but we bought like that would I hope that doesn't happen.
That would never happen today.
But we just had this lizard, and they're like, yeah, you can keep with an iguana. Like, it's fucking retarded by today's standards. But yeah, no one knew what the fuck was going on. They just put shit in their socks and brought it over, and everything was good. But
which is anonymous says it's also dangerous for your python, especially if you can't strike right.
I mean, to an extent. I mean, if you have a healthy ball python, you see that they eat. If you leave it in there after they don't eat, obviously it's more dangerous.
Okay.
Sometimes they do sustain bites, and that is what it is. I mean, they're scaled animals. They're meant to take bites.
Mm-hmm.
But you obviously want to mitigate that risk. But for the most part.
So you think that's why England made that law? Just
but if you can.
To rid out people who are. Oh.
No.
Okay.
No, they made it. Because I don't want to see a little mouse.
That made me think of something as going back to things that pissed us off on Instagram this week. I saw someone post a picture of their snake in the mouse they gave them, and they were like, it's 4 days after I put this mouse in there. They've been sleeping together. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
why would you leave a mouse
friends.
Why would you leave it in there for 4 days? And the person was like, this is the second time this is happening. So obviously you're wrong. Like, if you like, it made no sense to me why that person wasn't like, oh, this isn't how this works. Maybe I should try something different. Like,
their ball pythons just on a feed strike because it's winter, and then all of a sudden they have rats living.
But like, in what world would it make sense to leave the tub for 4 days? Like,
when you don't understand how animals work, so you don't understand that a mouse gets hungry pretty much immediately is gonna start eating your snake. But
is there a high chance of mouses eating snakes?
I mean, once they get hungry, mouses don't give a fuck. You ever see like they eat through your mattress and shit? Mice don't give a fuck.
No, I have not seen that.
Yeah, savages.
That's pretty crazy.
Watch the documentary Rats by Megan Morgan Spurlock.
Don't think I have any interest.
Fucking savages, these animals.
Bass Chaser said, "Are there any good reptile shows to go to in Orlando, and what would you recommend, or that you would recommend?"
I have no idea. I think there's a Repticon in Orlando, but I said 50-50 chance whether it's a shitty show or not. I don't remember.
How far is Daytona from Orlando? Isn't there one in Daytona?
Are the dog shit. I think Herps is a good show if you want to look up. There's a bunch of herps through Florida. I believe they're kind of more in the what do you call that?
Panhandle.
Where like Destin is and all that shit. The Gulf area.
Panhandle. Okay, that's the straight part.
Whatever, man. That's where they are sometimes.
They said, yeah, I've seen pics of what happens when live feeders attack snakes. But that's when people don't supervise, right?
Yeah, it's you take them out after.
But it's like bad things can happen if you don't do it right, no matter what. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes snakes refuse, and if it's live, it's needed to get them eating. The only issue I've ever had with the Reptarium was that one of the teenagers there got super excited to kill 2 rats for me. He was giggling. I know. I think I know who you're talking about.
I know who you're talking about, but
I definitely
I don't like. I also went to a rat breeder this one time. She's like, "No, I don't do CO2. Like, I just leave them out in the cold until they die." It was like, "You're a scumbag." Like, it's different with reptiles. Reptiles, their systems shut down. Even though if you freeze them quickly, their nerves will there'll be some pain. But for the most part, reptiles, if you cool them off and then put them in the freezer, they don't generally feel much pain per se.
They just die.
But with mammals, they for sure die slow and painfully. So don't do that.
She would just put them in the freezer and call
or
it a
she's
day.
Or I just slam them against the, kind of a little bit of a savage if you do that. So what you want to do is go to people who humanely euthanize animals, which is going to be CO2 and shit like that.
So, I mean, maybe it's possible. That's why England did that, is to
you're
take
saving
out
savages from themselves,
to take out the
chance
to take out the chance that people are going to do things the wrong way.
Savages will be savages,
and in some cases, I think it's good to do that.
But if you had some type of supervised or just a system where everyone's knowledgeable, which is impossible, then you don't have to protect people from themselves. They just have to be a decent amount of retarded.
Also, how do you even enforce that law? Is my question.
You don't. That's why everyone does it anyway.
Is it even enforceable to not live feed?
Because I guess people still breed rats.
But you can't buy live ones. There's no live ones who sell because it's illegal. I'm assuming if you are live feeding in England, I'm assuming you breed the rats on your own.
Yeah.
Which props to anyone who can handle that. I can't handle live rats. Nope. Not for me.
So much nicer to not.
Frozen.
But if you have animals that consistently need live prey, then I understand.
Do you think it would ever be possible to down the line, generations and generations, to get every snake on a frozen thawed? If you consistently...
No, because and if anyone's on Instagram, we're about to get cut off in a minute 40. But if you go to Theportcitypythons on YouTube, that's actually going to have much better audio quality and shit like that. And then you can still comment there. It's actually connected to our mics. If you're looking on Instagram, you're just getting the
but I don't know if YouTube does it.
If YouTube does it through the mics.
But if you're on your phone, can you watch YouTube live on your phone? Is what I'm saying. If they're
I don't know.
Not
I think
near
they just
computer,
made it so you can do YouTube live on your phone.
Okay, well, go to YouTube because it's ending in a minute. I was saying generations down the line. Do you think you could get everything? Not everything?
Because we haven't even gotten to the point where we can have them on mice in general, because so many reptiles in the wild just eat other reptiles or eat.
But after time and time of captive born bred, you don't think it'd be possible?
Yeah, but you're kind of saying if we just keep on feeding humans concrete, are they going to start being concrete eaters?
No, that is way different.
But you're trying to say
that is way different, because we don't eat. No humans eat concrete. Some snakes eat mice. So you could say if you make every
but you're painting snakes with the same brush. So it's like,
why can't I? They're all snakes.
I don't know if chimps are eating the same exact thing we are, but what was I saying? Meaning that if these snakes are eating only cold-blooded animals, I don't think it's easy to say you're just going to eat warm-blooded prey now. Different things.
I don't know. In my head, if you do it for long enough, if you're keeping them for long enough, that it will
so we haven't you haven't seen that through, but I've kind of
you haven't seen it through either.
I've had animals that wouldn't want to get over. Like we have one right now. We had to feed the corn snake.
Yeah, but maybe the next, okay, so you feed the corn snake and knolls, and then eventually you will get it onto mice. Hopefully. And then but then the next level, the one that the babies of that one, and then
we'll still
get closer and closer and closer.
No, not necessarily. There's still rogue motherfuckers out there.
Okay, can we agree? It's a possibility.
I mean, they get better, but it's not going to be 100%. Nothing's 100% all the time.
Okay. Lilypad said, "Is there something I can do with an uneaten
rodent from a ball python? Is there a way to preserve it? I mean, if it's live, no. If it's frozen, also no. Because once you thaw it out, you're opening it up to bacteria and stuff like that. Just refreezing it isn't a good option.
Couldn't you just give it to another animal?
I mean, but if you only have one." What you want to hope is you have a king snake or an olive python.
He'll just eat anything. Yeah, that kind of sucks to just throw it away.
Yeah, I always hate doing that. Like if I have to, why is my voice never cracks except fucking doing this?
Because you're nervous. Yeah, you're nervous. How many animals do you think you have to throw away, or rodents do you think you have to throw away in a week?
I always aim low the first time.
So you do less.
Yeah. So I account for certain ones that I may be on the fence of, and then I will thaw out more in the future if that's what I need to do.
Okay.
Usually I throw out pretty much 0 mice unless I put them there overnight, and then I see that the snake didn't eat it overnight,
and then you just have to throw it away.
So then I have to throw that away. But otherwise, I usually know the snakes, what's going to definitely eat, what's going to not. I mean.
And the longest you would leave something in there is overnight, right? You wouldn't ever go longer than that.
You'll know if something's in there longer than that.
Because you'll smell it.
yeah, it won't be good. So once it's overnight, you throw it out to whatever. But yeah, but it is cost of doing business,
Yeah, I mean, just you hope they eat, and that it just doesn't happen. You're taking
life would be great if they ate 100% all the time, for sure.
Maybe one day they will.
I don't know.
She said, "Why do ball pythons and boas have such different personalities? How do they evolve to have such different instincts? Her boas are amazingly interactive, but obviously ball pythons are the opposite of that."
Right, they're balls.
Yes.
So, I mean, part of the reason if you're taking a ball python versus a boa, ball pythons live in termite mounds and do nothing most of their lives. Boas, for the most part, are going to be semi-arboreal. They're going to be hunting prey a lot. They're going to be moving around. So when you hold them, you're going to have a boa that moves around a lot more. Ball pythons don't necessarily do that unless they get comfortable, then they may move around some, but for the most part they're just gonna be.
It's just because in the wild they don't have to.
It's natural instincts. Yeah, I mean, plus there's so many factors. Meaning, ball pythons are eons away from being a boa. Your boas are going to be mostly in the New World, so over here, your South America, Central America, even into Mexico.
And ball pythons are where?
And ball pythons are in Africa, and then most of the pythons are going to be over in Australia. Papua New Guinea, all that other shit. So, and boas are obviously going to be viviparous.
What does that mean?
So they're going to give birth to live prey, and then pythons are going to be.
But does the
lay eggs? But
does that affect their personality?
No, I'm just trying to get the
give differences.
They're going to be very different from each other, and I mean they just evolve differently. That's
a big factor, right?
Yeah, just everything, especially there's so many like island localities of boas that feed almost exclusively on birds and only
because that's what they had access to.
So of course those animals are going to be a little bit more arboreal, a little bit more in a mode of hunting than something that just waits around to.
Right.
They may wait around, but they wait around more in trees and stuff like that, waiting for birds to come.
Very interesting. I have to remind myself, like, evolution is over millions and millions of years, but I just think about, like, humans at one point all had to hunt, and we're not that way anymore, and we've evolved, but that's over lots of just think of other things that had to hunt
and like time between we haven't, that's such a small blip to where, like,
but still thousands and thousands.
What do we start
years.
Farming like 4,000 years
right, but
ago,
it's
though?
To us it's still a lot of time. So like
but 4,000 years in the realm of the universe is like
but think about boas and pythons in years, they might be closer together. The captive born bred
if anything, they're going further apart.
The captive born bred ones might be.
Well, the thing is that we're seeing differences in them, and we only started this in like the 80s. Really? So in cold-blooded reptiles, they evolve faster than mammals in the first place.
Okay.
So I think we are taking it to the next level by captive breeding for certain things. So make this process a lot quicker faster than would be in nature. Mm-hmm. So it should be. We've only been doing this since like the 80s, really.
People only captive born bred since the 80s.
People just took them out of the wild back in the day. They didn't give a fuck.
I can't imagine people had to do it before. Take care of snakes.
Some zoos, like one of them, they didn't give a fuck.
That's
really
crazy that it's only been like a little under 40 years.
Yeah,
that's nothing.
I know, but that's kind of scary. There's so
much in, you know what I mean? There's so
want to say domesticated for like a bearded dragon. You come up in a bearded dragon in the wild, fuck off. But if in captivity, they're going to be pretty personable.
We have like stunted that evolution.
Happens real quick, especially when you're breeding, very specifically.
Wow, I wonder. That's very. I didn't realize that.
Like corn snakes. I'm sure when they first got the first corn snakes, it was pretty hard to switch them over with that first generation.
Do you think it's bad that we've done it all so quickly? Like, think about a different morse and all the different stuff that we've made, and
just keep a captive snake and a wild snake a wild snake.
Just keep it separate, because the evolution of the wild snakes have not.
No, but we're only impeding on that, not by the activities in the hobby, but just activities of being human.
What do you think? I don't even know if you can come up with this number, like ratio, or the answer is always 100. The ratio or like percentage of morse we have that we've come up with in captive born bred versus morse you'll see naturally in the wild.
They all came from the wild at one point, but not all of them, because ball pythons, we breed them so much
that's what I'm saying. We've developed and created so many different ball python morphs. Do all of those exist in the natural?
Everyone that happens in captivity survives. As soon as a fucking yellow fucking snake comes out of the egg as a ball python, that motherfucker's getting eaten by something.
In the wild.
Because he sticks out.
But
in captivity, you're like...
So at one point, all these morphs existed in the wild, but they might not have lived. That adaptation was not advantageous for their life.
Survival. And
look at those big words I just used.
Nature puts that out there, though.
Let me put it out, and then if it fails or not. But we take away. So it doesn't breed. We take away that chance. Right. Okay.
So that's why it evolves so quickly, because natural selection isn't in play, because we try to make everything survive.
We choose what natural selection is.
So that's why some people don't breed snakes that don't feed well. Because you're breeding.
That's our own natural selection, which makes sense. But to me, it makes sense to not. But then there's also natural selection for like, oh, this is ugly. Let's not breed that more. As far as human natural selection.
Yeah, but that rarely happens. Anything that's different, we're like, fuck yeah, let's breed. That's different, because it's rare if it's different. But Lilypad said, can you neuter or spade a snake? You can neuter and spade anything if you want to, but snakes are pretty easily introduce them to each other. It's not like dogs who like they get out one day and
Right, because why would you even why would you need to neuter a spade? Because you're keeping them separately, so they're not gonna do it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but you're saying it is possible.
Sure, yeah,
it is. How do you do that?
Well, with the females, but specifically, you can take out like the oviducts or whatever.
So like a snip, cut.
And I mean,
procedure.
If you have a female that gets like egg bound, for the most part, you're gonna have to mess around with her oviducts, and then she probably won't be able to breed in the future. So,
why would you ever want to?
You don't do it on purpose. Yeah.
Gotcha. One, not to get too technical, but I mean, I don't know if anyone who's watching didn't know this. I didn't know till recently that even when you don't lock snakes up or lock, what's the lock? Or if you don't put snakes, if you don't breed snakes, that the females will still lay eggs sometimes.
Right.
And I had no. I was going towards that. It's kind of the thing. So I learned that even if you don't make snakes do it, that the female will still lay eggs. No, there's not anything. They're slug eggs, but not to get to the female humans that we still produce things.
How long can you talk about this for?
How long do you want me to talk about this for? Are you getting another beer? So snakes, even when you don't lock them up, they still lay eggs because that is the shedding of their cycle. That's the end of their cycle. That's their shedding. Humans shed in a different way. So technically, yeah, snakes get. Babe, you cannot talk and pee on the podcast. Are you serious right now? I can hear you peeing. I don't know if they can hear you peeing, but you can't talk to me and pee. Please. Sorry. He's trying to pee and talk to me. But yeah, so like snakes get their own form of ovulation. And I didn't know that. And Dorco said, I have a desert pinstripe. She's a pet only, and she's trying to avoid her developing eggs in the future. I don't think that's something you can stop, but it's just a thing where they're slug eggs because you didn't put two things together and you kind of just throw them away, right?
Well, this is a specific example because first of all, I want to say that environmental factors make an animal develop follicles and eggs and stuff like that. So
really, but humans.
Yeah, but you're not cold-blooded, right?
Okay.
I mean, sometimes
I was just sorry.
Well, yeah. So cold-blooded, your system's going to completely depend on environmental factors in every single way. So if you don't have that change in the seasons, which for most snakes, you're going to have a colder season and a warmer season, which is going to trigger the animals to develop follicles, then, they're going to. So if you put a corn snake down for the winter to brumate, for the most part, she's going to develop follicles after a certain point. Sometimes they reabsorb those follicles, grow. So sometimes they don't grow full term without that stimulation from sperm and stuff like that, but sometimes they also just lay all slugs. So the fact is that she has a desert. So what happens is a female desert, it's also can go along with the kind of what we were talking about before for like neurological factors. A desert's actually going to have physical reproduction hindered because their oviducts aren't big enough to
pass eggs. So that's why she wants to
So that's why she's probably concerned because if they'll get egg bound and die if you don't
trying to pass them.
Right, but for the most part, ball pythons don't seem to lay slug eggs that much.
Okay.
They seem to more either reabsorb them or, the best way to avoid that for the most part, I don't know 100%, I'm not the best one to ask, but, just keep them at constant temperature.
Don't get them into that
cold
brumation
I don't know
period.
many, well, they're not like corn snakes to where you lower them very low, but night drops and stuff like that.
Okay, but keep them, if you keep them consistently at the same temperature.
Yeah, and they're not like corn snakes. They don't slug clutch as much without breeding as.
But could she also spade/neuter it?
I don't know.
That's another option to keep.
But yeah, as long as there's no male, interaction, you should be fine. But
like you said,
and then it's also like, should you breed deserts at all?
That was what I was gonna say before you so rudely interrupted me. I was thinking back to the other neurological defects that we talked about earlier. Like, why would people? I guess you breed deserts for people who don't want to continue breeding them. Right?
Or you breed males, you can continue breeding them, but then the females out of that clutch, you'll have to be pet only. They look cool, but
is it worth it? Kind of like the spiders. Like, it's not, you're not going to die. It's not going to die, but is it worth it?
If that's your thing, you can
do it. But it also takes people like Dorco recognizing this and, trying to prevent
everyone sells them as pets only.
Yeah. And do they advertise that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pet only females.
Don't.
Or else you'll get called out for that.
I've learned people get called out a lot in the reptile community. If you fuck up, you cannot. I understand it, but
sometimes you get fucked with for the wrong reasons. But
people call you out for stuff that you couldn't control.
Or pretty much. Or like, everyone does or whatever. If you have mites or something, everyone's had mites at a certain point. It's just get it under control as quick as you can.
And don't sell it when you know you have mites.
And don't sell it when it has mites, shit like that. But Samurai Ant said, "Hey guys, I'm a new subscriber and I'm digging the channel already. I have a question. I want to start breeding snakes. Which snake should I start breeding with?"
Well, my question first is, what all do you have already? I'm assuming he has snakes.
Maybe nothing.
Oh. In my head, I'm thinking he has snakes and he's choosing between his snakes of what he wants to breed.
Ball pythons, definitely some of the easiest, as well as corn snakes. What you're going to run into is corn snakes are much easier to keep. You're going to have some seasonal problems feeding, stuff like that.
Do you think they're equally as sellable?
Yeah, they're probably more sellable depending on what you have. Everything you need to have the right. I think at first though, just sell anything for fun and then just worry about selling later.
Do you think?
But you can get a sellable. Do I think?
No. Finish your sentence.
You can get a sellable corn snake for $100, where you can get a sellable ball python for $500. So it's
okay.
You can get a really cool animal that's going to sell very easily by maybe spending, if you spend $500 on a pair of corn snakes, like
you're getting
good genetics. You're getting some shit that's definitely going to sell. If you spend $500 on a pair of ball pythons in 3 years, you may get something that someone likes. But
do you think that people should own snakes for pets before they start breeding? Do you think it's not wise to just get right into it and start breeding immediately?
An informed keeper is an informed keeper no matter how you split it or what animal they have. So if it's someone who's really going to be into it and is there for the long term and all that stuff, like.
But I think you just learn. I don't know. You learn stuff by keeping it as your pet.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I think you should definitely be a pet owner before you're a breeder.
But no matter what you are, because you need to have it maybe before you're actually breeding.
True. So he said he already has sand boas, corns, and hognoses.
Sand boas would be a super cool place to start. And for the most part, I know people just kind of keep them together to a certain extent during a certain time of the year, and they breed on their own. And also they're cool.
I think there's something different.
They're also viviparous, so you're going to have live babies. So that might be interesting.
Quicker to sell. You don't have to wait.
Maybe.
You don't have to wait for the egg. That's what I'm saying.
You still got to get them to feed and everything.
I know, but
it's not.
But you
have.
And
then he has corns too, which that's easy too. And then hognose.
So out of ball pythons, sand boas, corns, and hognoses, what's your final answer?
There is no final answer. You breed whatever you want to breed. So hogs and corns take the same process to breed.
Okay.
So, if you want to brewmate them, stuff like that, then you're doing it anyway for one species. Might as well put them together, not put them together physically, but
in the same brewmation.
Go through the same process to breed both of them. And then also you're not going to get 100% all the time. So if your first time you mess it up and things don't go exactly like you planned, then you may have, a backup to where you still get a clutch out of something. So. So do everything you can. If you have enough time, try to breed all of them. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean,
I think if your corns, I don't know how much normal corns are selling for, or like how easy it is to sell normal corns, but I feel like if you have some interesting corn morphs, I would go for that.
And it's more fun. I mean, that's the thing. It's personal, so that's more fun for me. But
right,
I think hognose will be fun for me to breed. But
true. Market for hognose morphs.
Yeah, people like hognose, but it's also going to be much harder to get them feeding than it will be for a corn snake. But
yeah,
also corn snakes may have more babies in comparison to hognose, so it may be maybe a little bit more time invested in corn snakes because there's more of them. But at a certain point, whether you're breeding 200 babies or 10 babies, you're kind of doing the same amount of work because you still got to get everyone to feed and go through all the troubles of.
It's like, yeah, corn snakes are more babies, but you can sell. It balances out, right? Because you can sell more snakes, of them, and
more pet level for sure.
So Louis said, "Hey guys, I'm going to get corn snake. What more should I get? I like white or orange or red." Bull driver.
He said that was autocorrect, so I'm not sure. I don't know what bull driver is, but white or orange is definitely going to be like your reverse Okeetes.
How much money do you have, Luis? That is, or if you want to get into a
nice AML.
I like the reverse Okeetes a lot. I think,
or a peppermint.
I think that very light in the white. I mean, I like those a lot.
So definitely look up your candy canes, your peppermints, which are going to be red and white. And then also AMLs, which are going to be your red, orange, and then whites. Reverse Okeetes are going to have that red, orange, and white. Yeah.
What else?
Just look on Morph Market.
So does Morph Market work where like you can, there's like a search box and you can go type in like what you want?
It's divided by morphs. So what you want to do is just go all corn snakes. So
okay, go on Morph
Market. And then
Market.
Under $200, you can pretty much get any corn snake besides a palmetto or a scaleless. So you can even get a het scaleless if you want it. If you wanted two scaleless, het scaleless het scaleless AMLs, you can probably spend like $400.
Okay.
But
Morph Market again. We're just plugging Morph Market all day long. And Samurai said, how often are these live videos? These live videos are every week. They are 99% of the time on Tuesdays at 6. Next week,
Tuesday's 4th of July.
So yeah, and I'm going to be out of town, so we're doing it different. Next week, it's going to be different, but every other week, Tuesdays at 6. And they're usually an hour. Today we're going over
6 Central Standard Time, 5 Mountain Time.
Okay,
4
who lives on
4 Western.
Time? I can't tell you one state that's Mountain Time.
Colorado, Utah.
Okay.
Montana. We have so many Montana listeners.
Yeah, we're real big in Montana, aren't we?
So what's the most valuable animal you've ever herped in the wild? I haven't found many.
Unfortunately, we've not been successful
snake, which are like
in
$40.
the wild. I think that's something you got to give a lot of time to. Yeah, he did find a copperhead, but I think that's something you have to give a lot of
snake.
You have to give a lot of time to like really find.
Valuable and that's ones. Not really not really getting my nut off finding snakes in the wild.
Also, I think it depends on where you live.
If we lived in Florida, live in Texas, it's pretty good though.
Okay.
If you go to
not in Dallas, right? Not in Dallas. If you live in Florida, I bet they found.
There's not much. Yeah, I mean, I haven't gone very wide and far, and no, I don't have any wild caught herps, and I do have one wild caught, but it's not
us wild
caught. I mean, it's much easier for me just to buy captive born stuff
and kind of peace of mind. A peace of mind. You know that, like, you're not bringing
anything into your collection,
right? That could mess up all the other snakes.
Decent,
right? Like, I understand the attraction to wild caught. It's like something new and different, but and it's sometimes. Like yours. You went out like hunter gatherer type thing. Like, I understand the attraction, but I just think once you get it home, there's more possibilities for consequences.
Makes your life much easier.
It makes your life easier if you get it captive born, but. I don't know. Then there's those people that get lucky and find shit in their backyard, and it's a freaking palmetto. And
yeah, but we're not those people.
But we are that lucky.
So Dorko asks, would you ever breed boas? I don't know. There's not many boas that I like.
What about
maybe
you?
if I had boas, maybe that'd be fun. Otherwise, boas.
Why aren't you into them as much?
Most of them get a little bit bigger than I'd like. So that's really it. I mean, plus it's just not my thing. I don't know. I just
everyone just has their thing.
Something else.
Yeah. Rather corn snakes.
Yeah. Corn so snakes if anything, it would definitely be a sand boa because those seem pretty fun. Okay. That's really about it. So
Luis said, what tank size for an adult corn snake? Also, he lives in Houston, Texas, the best state.
We live in Dallas. So.
I don't want to get into this, but I wholeheartedly disagree with you. Texas is not the best state by any means.
It's decent for herping, though.
Okay. In that subject, yes. But, okay, back to what tank size for an adult corn snake?
I forget, man.
Well, because we don't keep it in tanks. We keep it
corn snakes in tanks in a while.
We keep it in tubs in racks. But
35-gallon? That's off the top of my head. I really don't know. Really, just if you have a big tank, they're cool with that. If you have something, I would say at least the length of its body.
Okay.
So I'd say if you have an adult corn snake, if it's the length of its body, I think you're doing pretty well. So yeah, I mean that's really the only thing. They're not like ball pythons to where you need to have good hides and stuff for them to feel good. Corn snakes pretty much do their own thing, do whatever the fuck they want to do, and you can have them in a tank and them live a good life, which I disagree with ball pythons. I don't think you can really keep them in a tank and do that well. So I mean, yeah, it's really whatever fits your
as long as they fit. Oh, YouTube lost and Facebook lost
at the same time. Well, it just
probably
says
the internet
successfully connected.
Sorry, YouTube just went away for a second.
But yeah, I think it's semi decent of you to keep it, in whatever you want to,
as long as it fits the size of the tank. And obviously, well, adult's not going to get much bigger. Peter said he has a milk snake that's always on the cool side of the tank. Is there a reason that he's not going for the heat?
How high is your heat spot, or how hot is your
heat temperature?
Spot? But also I think as long as you have that mix, as long as you give them the options for both, you're going to be good. I mean, I like to keep Jesus Christ. I mean, I know some people keep them at maybe an 85 degree or 83 degree ambient room temperature. They seem to do fine that way. And I mean, if you're keeping them at
85,
or if you're keeping that, if your hot spot's 85 and then the cool side of your tank 70 degrees or whatever, or room temperature, or even 75, 80, I mean, you're good. I mean, I wouldn't worry about what it's doing.
There's no specific
85
reason.
Isn't too hot as long as it's actually 85 and you're monitoring it. So unless like your heat probe fell off and all of a sudden it ramped up, the heat in your tank or something, that's something. So if I see all my snakes in the front of my tub, the first thing I think is like my heat probe probably came off the tape, and that's why everything's in front.
But if it's just one,
because it ramped up.
But if it's just one, you wouldn't be concerned.
If you know that it's not over, or you just have one single, heat pad with a temperature. I mean, you want to check the probe if that's something that is there.
Okay, just so I'll check that. The Arkansas Dipper said, what snake is better to buy, corn snakes, ball pythons, or rat snakes?
Well, it all depends what you like. I'll say a corn snake or a rat snake. Corn snakes are generally going to have better temperaments than most rat snakes.
Okay.
But that's just a matter of opinion. I mean, ball pythons are just not
what you're wanting. If you want a snake that moves a lot, corn snake. If you're wanting a snake that stays still in a ball, if you want to feed corn snake. If you want to feed live and have to try 10 different things for your ball python. You know what I mean?
So I think it's really whatever you like, and
how much effort you want to put into it. I
think ball pythons are going to
if live feeding doesn't bother you, go for it. If trying a bunch of different things to get your snake to eat, it doesn't bother you, okay. One is not bad. It is just we both happen to have a personal preference for corn snakes because they meet our human needs. It's sad to say, you know what I mean?
Easier
for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lilypod said rosy boas are pretty cool. I don't know what those look like.
They're kind of like the colubrid of the. They're boas that are going to be throughout Southern California.
Okay.
And
oh, that light. Sorry, I gotta close this blind. That's terrible.
But I mean, they're. Oh, now I gotta close that one. I mean, they're mild temperatured boas, so they're anything that lives in North America, you're going to be good to go if they're commonly kept and something that eats readily. But yeah, rosy boas are cool.
Okay, they're kind of like I'll have to look those up.
They're a little sand boa-ish.
Okay, E-ish.
In look, at least as far as pattern and stuff goes. I mean, there's different localities, so there's some differences.
What
is it like San Luis that looks like something that would be called an albino, but it's just naturally orange.
Okay.
Or there's some good like striped ones, like black and gray striped ones. There's a lot of cool ones. But
Peter asked what your first reptile was.
Corn snake.
Tony? No,
I had a corn snake when I was like before first grade or something.
Okay.
I also had like iguana. It was mostly like my dad had stuff,
and you,
so I had stuff,
right?
Different. But I remember I brought a corn snake to show and tell in first grade.
Gotcha. The Arkansas Dipper said the only pet stores around him are Petco or PetSmart, and he can't find any reptile expos close to him. He doesn't know what to do because they are really overpriced at the stores.
Get it online. I mean, you got to pay shipping and stuff like that, but you're going to get a good quality animal. I don't know where you are in Arkansas, but Arkansas really isn't that far from us here in Texas. Or
so
even if there's an Oklahoma show or a Louisiana show, maybe there's something.
Also, shipping from Texas wouldn't be that expensive. If you go
or you can find someone you can find some people. What was that? Like semi-local to you. So I'm sure there's some.
I'm sure there's a Facebook
Arkansas
group, like a Arkansas reptile classifieds. That would be the best way to probably see like where the people are, and you can post in that Facebook group. Like, is there anyone close to wherever you live in Arkansas?
I thought that there was a herps or a Repticon in Little Rock. I'm not sure though.
We said, yeah, the snake hides are $23 or $23. Yeah, absolutely. Do not pay for snake hides at.
We use all
egg cartons.
Kinds of things.
I saw someone use a paper towel roll.
That works for colubrids, or even for ball pythons.
He's close to Little Rock. So you thought there was some show in Little Rock?
Yeah, potentially. I don't know for sure, but Little Rock's a pretty big city to not have one when Lake Charles has one. Sorry, Wes, if you're still here.
He's not. But yeah, definitely Arkansas Dipper. Look at. Do you think there would be a Little Rock reptile classifieds or Arkansas reptile classifieds is where you should go?
Like here we have Texas reptile classifieds and DFW and reptile. So I would just do a quick search on your Facebook machine.
Facebook's good for connecting with small breeders who are near to you. You could go pick it up, so you wouldn't have to pay shipping.
You'd be surprised; these people are everywhere.
Right. You don't even realize how many people are out there that you just didn't have.
Definitely some in Little Rock for sure.
Yeah, it's a big enough city.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm hungry.
Is that it?
It was a good show. I'm hungry. Right. If you have more questions. If you have more questions, message us on. Oh, he said there's no shows till December. Then your best bet is Facebook, because also you could reach out to someone and be like, hey, can I come look at
even someone who's willing to sell an animal that they got from a reputable breeder who are just they're just getting rid of it. Craigslist or something like that.
Craigslist or Facebook.
I think my favorite reptile YouTuber. Who's my favorite reptile?
Dave
YouTuber?
Kaufman.
Oh, that's true.
He really likes Dave Kaufman, and then smaller and who just started on YouTube is Brian Cusco. I feel like he's it's weird. I feel like he's big but small at the same time. I feel like he's a big breeder to the really intense people, but he's not wide known to everyone.
Dave Kaufman, DAV.
Space.
Yeah, space.
Last name Kaufman.
Kauf.
And Dave Kaufman's cool because he goes all over the world.
He travels all over the place, and he does field herping, and he does cool stuff. So that's definitely something to check out.
And then what's the other guy? Dan, or is his name Dave too? The bald
DM
guy.
Exotics. Yeah, I mean I talked about.
Oh, that's him. DM Exotics.
DM Exotics on YouTube.
Okay.
So many sponsors today.
Hey, I would love some sponsorship for this.
I know it's so hard. We have to sit here in our room and bullshit when we could be doing other bullshitting.
Whatever. Okay, I'm hungry.
All right, thank you guys for watching. We will be next Tuesday's 4th of July. Yes. So we will be here next Thursday.
Thursday at
6, maybe. Whenever. 6.
I will be. I don't have class. So
6 Central Time. Or 6 Australia time.
Okay. Whatever.
6 a.m. in Queensland.
We don't know math. Okay.
No, I don't know.
Thank you for your questions, everyone. Oh, if you know anyone who you want to recommend this to, tell them they can download this on iTunes or SoundCloud tomorrow once he uploads it. Obviously, those are just the audio ones on iTunes and SoundCloud, but also YouTube, you can watch this later.
And visit us at Theportcitypythons at Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, which is where all of our live shit that sounds good is on YouTube. All of our live shit that sounds bad is on Facebook and Instagram. Check out either if you give a fuck. If not, download it. That's cool too.
Yeah. Okay.
And ask questions, become part of the conversation, and send food.
Yes, send food. Let's do that. I like that. Send
Bye, people.
Bye.